Hello, everyone. Just making sure I was live. How is everyone today? My name is Carol Adams with Carol Adams Creations, and I was just on my Facebook channel, and I had so much fun with this technique that I just decided I wanted to continue the fun, and so I thought I would come on live today and just show you what I was doing over on my Facebook group. Now, I don't know, some of you may already know how to heat emboss, but I just wanted to show you kind of some new things that you might not know how to do or that you may have never thought of. And one is let me get this right here. I did these little guys. Hold on. Helps if I'm on the right camera. Let me just make sure it works. We're going to switch here. There we go. Let me do this one. Always delayed, and it takes a few seconds, and I never remember that. These are just little cutouts that I did. I'm going to go back here so I can be in the right way. These are just little cutouts that I did on my Cricut Joy, the hello, and then this little Christmas tree. And then I just dipped half of the hello in some Versamark, poured my powder on, heat embossed it, and then I did the same thing to this. So now I have a two-toned word. Now, I would have loved it if I'd had some colors, but I just have, you know, the traditional colors, black, silver. I don't even know why I have black. Why did I buy black? I don't know. I just have the traditional black, silver, and gold, and clear, and white. So I just use what I'm trying to use what I have instead of going out and buying more. But after this, I really want to go buy more. But that's beside the point. Okay, so what you need for this is, and this was another one that I did, and I'm going to show you how I did this background, and this is just white embossing powder on top of a piece of watercolor paper. This is the same one. I embossed it in black, and then I just used my Gamzi, Kurtaki, however you pronounce that, my watercolor paints, and I painted it. And I can't wait to cut this out and use it on a card. And I was thinking I was going to do it with the hello, but I don't know that that's going to show up. So I'll have to maybe get some bright yellow or something, and maybe paint it yellow and then do some clear embossing on top. So for this technique, I'm going to do two of them actually. Where's my other piece of there it is. I'm going to do two of these. One, I'm going to use a stencil because I think a lot of more people have stencils than they have stamps. And then I'm going to use this stamp set. And it is just some butterflies. Okay. And let me see if I can get some of this cleaned off a little bit. I'm bad. I don't ever clean my stamps. I don't know if that's going to come off or not. But here we go. Some of it did. I don't use stamps very often. But like I said, I'm trying to start using what I have. So okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to start just kind of, let's see, we'll just do it this way. And then we'll just do this little guy right there. And we'll do this guy right there. There we go. And I won't use this one. Yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, first, this is so much fun. We are going to take some Tombow markers, and we are going to create a background. Just kind of a quick and easy way, and this would make great backgrounds to use in your, your junk journal, your art journal, a mixed media piece. Use it as the background for a card or just whatever you would want. I'm going to do some blues and some greens for this. I'm going to start with this bright green, and I'm just going to go all the way across and just kind of color this in. Just like that. And then I'm going to go to my next green. And then I guess I'll go to my blue. I have a ton of these Tombow markers, and I hardly ever use them. So I've kind of been inspired to use them more. That doesn't seem much difference, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a mister. Hold on a moment. I was going to see if I had a smaller mister. I have this big mister that I bought from Michael's, and it just, well, you spray it and then it goes, that's a technical term. And it's like, I just want it to be a little more concentrated than that. But anyway, so we're just going to use this. Try not to use as much as I sometimes do. And then what you can do is you just take a paintbrush and you just start painting it on. And just kind of smearing everything, making it smooth. So you are happy with it. You can add just a little bit more. And let that dry so that it has some of these dots. You see the water dots? So while this one is drying, I'm going to do this one. And for this one, I thought I'd do pinks and oranges and a yellow. Let me just do these. Okay. I mean, if you've got everything out, you might as well make several of them. Instead of just making one, we'll make several. Now, the other thing that you'll need is some Versamark. I may have got so excited about showing you this technique that I forgot. You need Versamark, and you need your embossing powder, and you'll need a heat tool. Ooh, that's such a pretty color. I'm such a hot pink person. Love hot pink. Okay, so I'm going to take my spritzer here and kind of spritz a little bit. Take my paintbrush, which I need to dry out a little bit. Hold on. Okay, and I'm just going to paint this. I think I got too much in the middle and not enough in the top. There we go. Oh, it's so pretty. You can just use this for a background. Isn't that pretty? Hope you can see that. So let me dry this one. And this one, we're going to do the butterflies on it. I just love all these colors together. It's so pretty. I got some paper towels are on the other side of the room. I haven't refilled my little holder here. Okay, so I'm going to take my stamps, which are right here. I'm going to make sure that they are nice and filled with Versamark. It really helps if you have a stamp that has a little bit more detail than such thin lines, but I didn't have one. So I am going to place this here and give it a good press, and then gently lift it up. And then I am going to use, what do I do with my tray? There it is. You need a tray with embossing powder. I'm going to be using clear embossing powder. And I know it's going to be hard to see, and my clear has some other colors all in it, But I'm just pouring all of this over it. And then I'm going to tilt it up and dust it off. I'm going to put this back in here. And then I'm going to close the lid to make sure that I don't get it everywhere. I know I don't know if you can see this or not. It's a little hard to see. I don't know if that's a good angle or not, but now I'm going to heat this. And I love using embossing powders because it's kind of like magic, and it just, you can really tell when the powder, it heats and it turns, I guess, basically into plastic. I'm not real certain. But you need to make sure that you get this really done and melted before we go to the next step. Because when we go to the next step is when you'll really be able to see the difference. Because I know this is really hard to see because it is clear. But we're going to kind of do a watercolor release, or a watercolor, we're going to take off some of the watercolor. For a lack of a better word, we're going to remove some of the watercolor. So let's get this done. And then the next one we're going to do is we're going to do it the same thing, but we're going to use a stencil this time. Because I know a lot of people probably have more stencils than they do stamps. And it really is easy to make your own stamps. So we've done this. I'm going to take my baby wipes. And now I'm going to remove some of the paint. I got that one good enough. Like I said, it really looks better when you use something that is a little bit more detailed. But I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's because it's really, really faint. But you can just see the image of our butterfly. I don't think I got that one melted enough. So I just think it's a really, really cool way. And I'm going to do this to make sure that you all can see. I just think it's a really cool way just to kind of give the little glint or the little illusion that there is something underneath there. I just think that's so pretty. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this one, except I'm going to do this through this stencil, and I think this will work a little bit better than those stamps that I used. So you have to press it down a little bit harder because it's got to go through the stencil to the watercolor paper. So I'm going to hold down my stencil. And then we're going to do the same thing. Now, one thing to remember, when you're using Versamark, you really need to clean it off, because if you don't, it gets really sticky, and that's never good for your stamps or your stencil. It'll do the same thing to your stencil as well. So we're just going to do this. Oh, I hope you can see that. Can you all see that? That one, see, because it's more of an image than just the lines. So kind of keep that in mind when you're doing this. Always remember to put the lid on it. I say from experience, if you don't and you start using your heat gun, powder sometimes will just go everywhere. So let me just kind of get this done. And then while this is going, like I said in the beginning, I cut this out. Let me see if I can find something to put this on while I'm kind of talking here. I'll just use this little doily that's right there. I just cut this out on my Cricut, and then I just did the Versamark and some heat emboss. And won't this be pretty to use on a Christmas card or a Christmas junk journal, or just whatever you would want to use it on. And then I was going to use this hello on my sunflower when I got it cut out, and it was like, okay, that does not match. So I think I'm going to have to cut me out another one, and then maybe use the markers or some acrylic paint and paint it yellow, and then use the clear on top of it, since I don't have yellow embossing powder. I don't know what other colors I have in this clear embossing powder. Come on, hurry up. And always be sure and use like the Tim Holtz craft mat, or you could even use like the plastic cutting boards that you can use at Dollar Tree. You just need something to protect your work surface. Even one of these mats from the heat will make it warp. And I say that once again, I say that from experience. I had one of them, and it was like that. I'm like, man, you spend all that money and then you've ruined it with just one heating. All right, I think that's pretty good. You can't really see it right now. Don't think, oh, there you go. You can see it just right there. And then once again, I'm just going to take my baby wipe, and I'm just going to start wiping. Oh yeah, this one worked good. Can't wait to do that pink down there. So it's just a really subtle way, you know, to add some texture to your page. And this would be, like I said, this would be beautiful to use as the background on a card, or maybe on, you know, in your journal, or just whatever. And it's also, like I said, it's also really pretty. Let me see if I can find it. It's also really pretty if you do it in the white embossed. I did the same technique of doing this in all oranges and yellows, and then I embossed it in white and wiped it off just a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit more. It just kind of gets all the background even. So 2 different ways. And this is another way you can stamp your image, do it in black or white or whatever, and then use your watercolors to watercolor inside your image. Quick and easy way to create backgrounds, to create embellishments, and really just to have a good afternoon time, a good time of fun. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you will join me again on Friday as we do Freebie Friday. And yeah, it's Carol Adams Creations. Hope you all have an awesome day.